Hi, welcome to Maple Crest Library. What can I help you with? Were you looking to return some books, check out some books, use some of our computers over there? Okay, looking to get some books? Yeah, that's no problem. Was there a specific book that you had in mind that you wanted to get? Okay. Okay, so you're looking for some recommendations then? Okay, well, that's the place to do it. Well, what kind of genre are you interested in? Okay. Well, I'm just gonna recommend you a little bit of everything. I hope you don't mind. Who knows, you may end up liking something that I recommend. Um, but I mean, we've got a few books here. Like this is The Lover by Margaret Duras. I read this about a month ago now and I really enjoyed it. But a personal favorite of mine is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Now, I can't actually check it out to you because it is checked out and we have 8 holds on it already. So it won't be ready for a while, but I thought I'd just tell you about it just in case you were interested and you could eventually get in that hold line and hopefully be able to check it out at some point. But Little Women by Louisa May Alcott is a story about 4 sisters who are somewhat different in their personalities. Jo is kind of the main character. She's a bit of a tomboy, a bit of a rule breaker, a bit of a free spirit. And the story just follows the 4 sisters as they are young girls to young women, and their trouble that they get in along the way, and how they grow and what they learn, life lessons, and just a story about sisterhood and growth, and yeah, coming of age. So it's my favorite book of all time. I think you should check it out, definitely. But yeah, I mean, The Lover here is about a young girl who is French. She's living in a colony, French colony. It's been a while since I've read this one, but she's set in Indochina, where she's at, and she finds a man who eventually they become invested in each other, if that's a good way to put it. They begin to have a relationship when she's still a minor and he is an adult and he is rich. It's very complex. It also follows the intricate and complex and somewhat toxic relationship between her and her mother. But if you were interested in this one, we do have this. Otherwise, we have this. It looks like someone still left the bookmark in here. Looks like they didn't quite finish it. But this is Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin, and it doesn't have it written anywhere here. This is an older copy. It looks like it was kind of used quite a bit, well loved, but on the inside you can see the title and then the copyright date. This book was printed in December of 1963, and it says for Lucien. I'm a librarian, I should know how to pronounce pretty much almost everything, but we're still human. Anyway, so this is Giovanni's Room, and if I were to recommend another book that we actually also don't have in stock here, but I think is still worth a read, is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Now this is a more well-known novel, same as Little Women, so maybe you've heard of it. Have you? I was sure you probably did, but it's also one of my favorite books of all time. It's about a young girl who's a college student, and it's been a while since I read it, so I hope I'm getting this right, but she won a magazine contest, and so she's up in New York, and she's in a hotel with other girls who are part of it, and eventually it just shows her downward, I don't even like to say downward trajectory, but a drop in her mental health as time goes on, and eventually she goes to a psychiatric facility and stays there. And it's a story about the struggle, with depression and feeling like an outsider, and despite being young, despite being in college, seeing a young girl struggle. One of my favorite books. I think Sylvia Plath has an amazing writing style. She's a poet before she was a novelist. She wrote over, a plethora of poems, and you can tell that she's a very good poet in her novel because it's very well written, great prose. So I think that's worth a read. That is also checked out from our library. However, you can put it on hold as well. I can do that for you. I would say maybe you'd be able to read it. Actually, if I look it up now, let's see. Is that something that you are interested in that I, could look up for you, Little Women as well? Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So I'll look up Little Women first. Okay, yeah, so Little Women is checked out, just from my memory, because the popular ones are always checked out, but, so, yeah, Little Women, yeah, does have quite a few holds, but, if there's a hold, that means that person has to return it by the day that it is due, so they can't renew it. So eventually you will be able to get the book, but let's go ahead and look up The Bell Jar now. Okay. Alright, so yep, The Bell Jar is checked out, and there's only 3 holds on that one actually, so maybe you could be reading this maybe 4 months from now, and maybe you could find a couple novels that intrigue you until the meantime. Maybe Giovanni's Room could be one of those. I read Giovanni's Room not too long ago, actually. I thought it was, despite it being a very well-acclaimed novel, I thought it was okay. I didn't finish it. I actually did not finish it. I stopped reading it just because I lost interest. I think James Baldwin is an amazing writer as well. His prose is amazing. His insight into the psyche of a character is very well. I somehow feel like it's rooted in some sort of truth that he had in his own life, showing in his work. But why I stopped reading was just because it felt a bit too slow-paced for my liking, and it seemed sort of repetitive. I just wish there was a little bit more nuance or more dynamics happening in the story, but who knows, maybe you'll like it. It is here if you wanted to check it out. So to continue my recommendations for you, something that we currently do have that I would recommend would be Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This is a cult classic, a fan favorite. So you've probably heard of it, right? Yeah, so Pride and Prejudice, I can just read the little summary here on the back, but it says spirited Elizabeth Bennet is one of a family of 5 daughters and with no male heir, the Bennett estate must someday pass to their... You know what? Let me put my reading glasses on. I'm just having a hard time right now. Okay. Must someday pass to their priggish cousin William Collins. Therefore, the girls must marry well, and thus is launched the story of Elizabeth and the arrogant bachelor Mr. Darcy, in a novel renowned as the epitome of romance and wit. Pride and Prejudice is Jane Austen's masterwork, an entertaining portrait of matrimonial rights and rivalries, timeless in its hilarity and honesty. You know, like I said, I am a librarian, but I still do struggle to read sometimes. So anyway, I really enjoyed Pride and Prejudice. I read it as a teenager when I was much younger, and I also very much enjoyed it. I enjoyed the intellectualism of the novel. It's not a hard read, but it is very much filled with depth. And again, it's similar to Little Women in the fact that it's a very inspiring and encouraging story of it's focusing on Elizabeth, but she does have sisters, and their relationship, and kind of just this like at-home feeling, slice of life kind of novel that deals with like timeless themes of love and longing, and relationships. That's what I really love about it. So we do have that here if you are interested. And this we also have, it kind of reminds me of Frankenstein. We don't have that in the library. I can actually check that just to make sure. I am pretty sure. Like I said, all of the well-known novels are usually checked out. But let's go ahead and search it just in case. It is... Okay, it is a fantasy kind of novel, but it's very low fantasy, in the sense that it has some elements of fantasy or supernatural, but it doesn't get too heavily into that, which I enjoy. So maybe that's something that you're wanting. But Frankenstein is checked out, and it has 5 holds, so you wouldn't be waiting forever, but you would be waiting for a little bit. Frankenstein is also one of my favorite books I've ever read. It is I'll say that Mary Shelley is very intelligent. Her writing style and her prose is exceptional. Not just because she just has like flowery words, but she also kind of writes about like timeless themes of like the human condition, and it's very evident in her novel that she wasn't looking to just have write for thrills or for shock or for horror, but it's very, very human in her writing, and just the themes. The monster, at a certain point, Frankenstein's monster, you begin to almost empathize or sympathize rather with him, and you begin to humanize him, and it's morally conflicting, especially after he does such egregious things, and you think about the consequences to our actions. And there's just really great one-liners that I wrote down. I highlighted some of her quotes, but definitely worth a read. I would put that on hold for you, but for right now I'll just recommend some things and you can think about what you want. But we do have here, it's called A Gift So Rare by Helen Laurie Marshall. This this one, if you're a lover of images and poetry, it says verses, but it really is kind of like poetry. I can read you an excerpt. I'm gonna just put on my glasses so I can see. But so this one here that I showed you is called Calling Card. It says, spring came last night on tiptoe when all the world was still. The winter pelted her with snow. She left one daffodil, one golden daffodil she left before she ran away. One daffodil to let us know that she'd be back one day. It's a very beautiful little book. It's just very whimsical and inspiring and cheerful, very positive. It always helps me to read when I'm in a low spot in my life. Helps me to just have reassurance that there's hope and to stay positive and just some very beautiful words, and it's quite simple, nothing like revolutionary in the content or the writing, but it's just very poignant, and it's very special in a simple way, which I like. It's not overwhelming or anything that you have to think too hardly about, just like gentle reminders of what's important. It's very very happy, very lighthearted, which it's great if you're struggling in your life, having a lower point. But my last recommendation for you, if you like YA young adult, we do have that option. This is Looking for Alaska by John Green. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. You've probably heard of John Green, but it says here that it was a Hulu original series, and I did watch it and I really enjoyed it. The unfortunate thing is that I actually enjoyed, I think, the show more than I liked the novel, and not in a bad way, not that this was written badly, otherwise I wouldn't be recommending it, right? However, for me, it also kind of just felt same thing with Giovanni's Room. It just felt like the arc was a bit slow to come, and that it was kind of one-tracked, kind of just the same thing happening, a bit repetitive. I just wanted more complexity, more nuance, more places the story, the arc, the plot could have gone, but nevertheless, if you want a book that is about going out of your comfort zone and friendship, and this book definitely is coming of age, but it really is suitable for, it could, the theme of following something that you desire, I think, can happen at any age. And yeah, I would recommend this if you definitely enjoy YA, and of course, it being YA is very easy to read. You could read this in maybe a day or two. It's a very short novel, but I can just read the back to make sure I'm not missing anything here. The summary might say it, but Alaska Young is one of the female characters, and she's very memorable and very unique. But let's go ahead and read that. It says, Miles Halter is fascinated by famous last words and tired of his safe life at home. He leaves for boarding school to seek what the dying poet Francois Rabelais. Now, I don't really speak French, so forgive me. So he leaves for boarding school to seek what the dying poet Francois Rabelais called the Great Perhaps. Much awaits Miles at Culver Creek, including Alaska Young, who will pull Miles into her labyrinth and catapult him into the Great Perhaps. Looking for Alaska brilliantly chronicles the indelible impact one life can have on another. Yes, and I felt that, I don't know, I don't want to say the TV show, maybe, I don't know, there's something about seeing something visually as opposed to on, in a book that really makes it come to life. And maybe because I saw the TV show first, I kind of prefer it more, but I still say this is very good. So that's going to be my last recommendation for you. Just to give you some ideas, I feel like I gave you quite a bit. Now, those books that I recommended that we don't have, some of my favorites, my favorites of all time, I should say, I'd have copies of those at my house. And if you're interested, I would be willing to lend them to you. I can bring them to the library tomorrow if you wanted to come back. Now, they are vintage copies. I got them off eBay, actually, and I paid a lot of money for them. And some of them are first editions, but they are all vintage and very special to me. And just because you've been so great, I would actually lend them to you. So did any of those spark your interest? Maybe, like I said, they're my favorites of all time. I hope they would, intrigue you as well. Was there anything that you maybe were interested in? Yeah. Okay. Frankenstein. Okay. Yeah, that one, I have the 1943 edition of. It has a, very 1940s kind of image on the front of a woman who's sprawled out on the bed, and she almost looks like those old cartoon women figurines, and it has the monster in the background. Now, I won't spoil anything what that alludes to, but anyway, I will bring that in for you tomorrow, and I just ask that you take very, very good care of it, and bring it back whenever you finish. I work here all the time. I'm here pretty much every day, and if I'm not, you can just hand it up to anyone at the desk. But and then, was there anything else that you were interested in that we have here that you wanted to check out at all? Okay, you want to try your luck with Giovanni's room. Okay, that's great. Let me just pull it back. Okay, now, I'll leave the bookmark in here for you, just so you can use you can keep it after. I mean, the person left it in, but yeah. Let's go ahead and check this out for you. Now, do you have a library card with us? Okay, you do. Yeah, you can go ahead and grab it out. I'll just go ahead and get this started. Okay, thank you. Alright, awesome. Alright, okay. Let me go ahead and just look up your name in our system, your account number. Okay, let's see. Okay, it looks like your library card expired 2 years ago. Did you want to go ahead and renew that today, right now with me? Okay, great. I'm just gonna hand this back to you, or do you want me to throw it out? Yeah, that way you don't get mixed up with a new one. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and set you up with a new library account. It's quick, easy, and simple. I'll just need your first and last name, please. Okay, and the spelling as well. Yeah. Okay, great. And your last name? Okay. Okay, and then what is your current address? Okay. And then your zip code. Thank you. And then I'll just need your date of birth. It's the last thing I'll get from you. Okay. Awesome. All right, well, that's all that. Now you're in our system. I'll just hand you a new library card. Okay, there's that for you. Oh, you're welcome. You don't have to thank me. Okay, that is great. Let me go ahead and just finish scanning the book. Perfect, and I'm gonna hand that right to you. And here on my computer it says it's due back in 2 weeks from today, but just between us, bring it back whenever you finish. That's of course if someone puts it on hold, then you'd have to bring it in, unfortunately. But Giovanni's Room, it is popular, but it isn't extremely popular. I think you can get away with having it for longer than 2 weeks if you needed to. But yeah, honestly, I think you'll love it, and I think you might finish it before then. But is there anything else that I can help you with? Any other questions or any comments, any concerns? Okay, that's so great. I'm glad you found a book. I know what it's like to want to read, or you got done with one great book and you want to have another amazing experience with another book, but you don't have any ideas or you don't have anything to read. So, like I said, I will bring Frankenstein tomorrow for you if you come in, and I'll be more than happy to lend it to you. And yeah, thank you so much for coming in today. It was great to meet you. I know that I don't think I've ever seen your face before, and I've been working here for about 20 years now. Are you new to the area? Okay, well, that's great. I hope to, continue to see you, and hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you enjoy reading that book for now. And I would say be careful on the way out. It is raining quite a bit. You don't want to get your book wet, but a rainy day makes for a great reading day. So go ahead and go home and light a candle and make some tea or whatever you will, and enjoy your book. And thank you so much for coming in, and I can't wait to see you again soon. Good night.